In our last episode, we check out Darren's abs. We test our skills in fickle winds, then enjoy a glorious sail from Stonehaven anchorage through to unsafe passage where Darren checks out his new spear gun.
Kenny loader.
So, next time you're sitting out with a bunch of cruisers discussing your Windgen woes, and someone says to you, "Oh hey, no worries there, you just need to service your Windgen and replace your brushes," and you think to yourself, "Yeah, cool, I can do that. How do I do that? Never thought a Windgen had any brushes." And then you think to yourself, "Oh my god, I'm going to have to get someone in, dollar signs and all sorts of things like that cross your mind." Well, it doesn't have to. It can be really easy, and Darren's going to show you how.
Today we're installing 2 new solar panels, but as you can see, we've since then had another job that's popped up. The wind generator decided it wasn't going to work in the middle of the night. We've sort of known about this problem, that it's happened before, where these I'm not sure whether you can see the brushes here. It's actually been arcing. It just rubs against a couple of slip rings inside that housing there, and you can see the difference between the two. And once that starts arcing, well, it makes a really bad contact, and therefore it won't charge. So it happened once before, and we managed to clean the brushes up, and we put it back together. So we knew it was going to happen again. So now we have a couple of new brushes to put in there, and you can see the visual difference there. You know, how much cleaner they are. So we're just going to stick those in, and maybe stick some a little bit of grease into it in a couple of places, and give it a birthday. This thing's been swinging around up there for 9 years now, in a liverboard application. So the service of this thing's been really, really good. We're going to replace the blades as well. You can probably see that that's a little bit of fishing rod damage where I've poked the fishing rod through it, and that has slowly been sort of getting bigger and bigger. So we figure the end's going to fly off that, and I have heard of them, you know, when they break a blade, they put themselves out of balance that much that they'll literally fly off the post. And when that happens, they break all the other blades in the process. So we're going to give it a big birthday and whack a set of new blades on it, and hopefully she'll go again for another 10 or 15 years. So if you're changing these brushes out, they're really easy to do. And if you're really not sure about something, just take a photo with your phone, you know, just so you've got something to refer back to. But you know, they literally just unscrew from the side there, and they poke around, and they're spring loaded, and they just sit in that. They sit in that groove there, and they sit on that spring, and they literally they push out, and they sit on this. I don't know whether you can see, but they sit on that slip ring there, and that's what makes the contact. Them brushes are quite salvageable. We could make them work again, but since we've got the new ones, we'll replace it. But you can see that slip ring in the bottom is quite worn. It originally was on the top one. We've swapped it out because it's just an earth and it's actually not hooked up to anything. So we've swapped that around to give it a new lease of life, and you can just clean that up with a little bit of light emery, and Bob's your uncle. Away you go again. you can kind of see that that's virtually like brand new there, but as you come around, you can see where the working radius has been just in there, and that's that brush has done that damage there where it's been arcing. You know, it's gotten dirty and it's trying to arc like a welder.
Yeah.
And it's damaged that slip ring a little bit, but.
So you're just cleaning that up with emery paper, are you?
Yeah, it's virtually just a bit of wet and dry, or anything similar, whatever you got on board. The finer the better. This stuff's only brass, and it damages quite easy. Like, it cleans up really easy, but it with a bit of mucking around, you could
get that smooth again.
You could get that smooth, or close to it. It's pretty close. That's it. Gotcha.
Well done, my honey. So why are you taking this off?
Well, I want to take the swivel piece out of it. This piece is just to grease the bearings.
Oh, so the bearings are in there.
Yeah, you can actually see the bearing just in there.
Okay.
Like, ideally it'd be good if we had new bearings, but we don't. So yeah, I've got that piece out there now, and the bearings feels okay-ish, but there's just a little dust cover in there, and you can flick that out and just repack it full of grease, and because it doesn't really work that hard, it just swings with the generator. So just put a little bit of grease in there, and should be right for another 10 years.
Okay, rock on.
There's a little dust cover. Yeah, I can just stick a little bit of winch grease or any old grease in there just to help it a bit.
And there, the grease goes in there.
You can see the little ball bearings in there.
Oh, yep. You just cover them all in grease.
Yeah, just
awesome.
A smear of grease, and
okay,
that'll help the longevity of them. Okay, while I'm at the business end of it now.
Hang on. Yeah.
We're at the business end.
What is that anyway?
Well, that's what generates all the power. That's just all full of magnets, and I forget what you call all that stuff in there, but it'll come to me. So now I can just there's two bearings in here side by side, so I really just want to be able to pop them out if I can. Okay, I've got these bearings sort of out. This one's actually got two metal seals in it, so I can't actually do much with that, but this one here's just got a nice little rubber seal in it, and you can just pop that out. Because the grease goes a little bit hard after a while. The bearing still feels fine, but I can probably get a little bit of other grease, and I'll repack that.
Yeah.
And put him back in, and hopefully it'll help keep him running for a while. It's a bit of a shame I can't do it to that one because he's got a metal seal in it. I'd probably destroy it if I popped him out. Anyway, that'll help freshen it up.
Okay. Well, if you're going to have the thing apart, you might as well give it a good old work over.
Yeah. Just pops back in like that. Good for another 10 years.
Beauty. So this bit's the bit that actually generates the power. It's got all the magnets and stuff in it for the Windgen. So when the blades are spinning that way and turning that magnet thing. It is a magnet.
It is a magnet. It's quite a strong. So, yeah, I won't be able to get it out.
And that's how strong the magnets are.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the power generation bit, and you're just replacing greasing up the bearings on the inside.
That was a mistake.
Whew. She's in.
She's in.
What are you up to now, my honey?
Well, I'm just trying to put the new brushes in. I was just trying them on for size, and I've actually got to fit down into that little gap there, and they're actually a little bit big. That's the old one there, and I haven't got the spring in it, but it's supposed to be able to fit down and slot. The spring pushes it out on the slip ring like that. So yeah, well, it looks like I'll have to get the emery paper out again, and because that brush is actually quite soft, so with a little bit of emery paper and just I'll give it a little bit of a touch up and it'll fit in there, and Bob's your uncle. Okay, we're just about ready to close this Jenny up. So we've cleaned up the slip rings sort of best we can. Maybe another couple of hours on the emery, I could have got them probably near perfect, but they'll be okay for another half a dozen years. The brushes are in behind there, you can't really see them, but there's really not much to these Air Breeze wind generators. They're really good quality. Like an average bloke could fix this quite easily. They're really the only moving parts in it are the slip rings and brushes, and all this circuitry here you can actually buy on the net. So if that's the problem, just throw it away and put a new one in and away you go again. So yeah, they're a really good thing and simple enough. So for the sake of $30 for a set of brushes in the afternoon, well, hopefully we'll be making a bit of power again by this afternoon.
Good on you, my honey. So what do you do? Just close that all up there?
Yeah, basically it just it's got a nice little O-ring on there and 3 screws in there. Put the prop back on and
Bob's your uncle. So these are the Airlie Beach markets where we come to get our veggies. We get a really good stock of fresh veggies here and for really decent prices. They're locally grown, so yeah, we'll take you for a bit of a tour. Right on the beach in Airlie Beach. It's a really nice place.
JST, your heart out.
All in his hand are a man.
Looks like homemade paper.
That's really nice.
Going out to fight, but the going to go get the people roll. Very thirsty in love. To let go of the tasty job on return.
Do a song now.
One size.
Ring a bit of a bell for most men in the audience. We've all done this before.
Yeah, I might try and
Song called Dumb.
Be nice and cool, that dress. Hey fellas.
Marami kasing tigyawat din sa likod para matakpan yung mga alamtik. Puluhin na lang ng tato.
I've had a few people ask me lately about the hats. Really good cruising hats are these straw hats, and I particularly like the cowboy style. They stay on your head. You can flex them out if you want to. You can have them up like cowboy style, and the other really cool thing for cruisers is these actually come with a little attachment, so they'll stay on your head in the wind when you're hooning around in your dinghy. So yeah, this is the place to come for your cowboy hats. So if you're not baking your own bed on board, this is the place to come. And look at these delicious loaves of bread. You've got sourdoughs, grain rolls and ciabattas. They're all baked locally and they are really lovely and fresh. The Reef Festival was on and we'd heard there were fireworks on that night. So we shouted ourselves some lunch at the gorgeous Treehouse Cafe, then went to check out the classic car show. Beautiful. This would be my choice. So practical, the old station wagon. Then we went to check out the shop of some local cruisers that we'd met. They design and print their own t-shirts and sell locally crafted gifts, so it was a pretty fun store to hunt around. That is definitely my kind of t-shirt. Are they me?
Wow, fantastic.
They're pretty cool. They're made of wood, bamboo.
Yeah. Pretty neat.
How cool is this? This is a painted coconut. Awesome. I can cover it up with this. How's that?
Perfect.
So with nighttime looming, we took off to find some fun and frivolity at the festival. The Reef Festival is an annual event promoting awareness of the Great Barrier Reef and living in the Whitsundays. We had a pretty cool time checking out the show rides. We grabbed a gourmet burger and sat back on the beach to watch the fireworks. So hi everyone, thanks for watching. We are pretty stoked because I know it's a small amount, but we have cracked the 2,000 followers barrier on YouTube, and we just wanted to say thank you so much for 2 people who spend a lot of their time alone just hanging out doing our own stuff. It's really nice to know that we have a growing cyber family out there. A really nice bunch of people seem to have started following us, and that's you guys, and thank you so much. We love hearing from you, and we're really enjoying the questions and the comments that we're getting from you. So thank you for the love, and thank you for sharing, and thank you for the connection. So one fellow has asked us a really good question, and that's James Franklin, and he asked us to tell some things that we learnt over our time cruising that we haven't learnt in books. So Darren has a particularly good story on that one he's going to share with you.
Yeah, I must say that was a really interesting question. I thought, well, you know, there's so many things that you can't actually read in books that are related to cruising, and especially more on the problem side of things, where things do go wrong, and there's nothing you can refer back to, and especially when you're new at it, you know, you're trying to get all the information you can, and you know, when I first started out, probably one of the first things that ever happened to me, the particular vessel that I had at the time, I was sailing along and the backstay broke, and
Kapowie!
It went off like a gunshot, and of course you know what I said next, and like, bloody hell, what do I do? It's like,
what did you do?
Well, I turned the boat around into the wind, and you know, sails flapping around everywhere, and that was probably the worst thing that I could have done, because with the backstay broken, you know, the mast wanted to go forward, and it kinked the furler, and I couldn't furl the furler up, and it was just a little chain of events. So I was just really lucky that the day was a really nice day, and I did manage to bluff my way through it. But if I had just pulled the main sheet on as hard as I could have kept sailing, and basically furled the furler up, and you know, it would have been a much more controlled event. But yeah, it was a pretty interesting, you know, 5 or 10 minutes that it could have really ended up bad.
No one needs a mast on deck or in the water. I haven't had that happen to me, and I haven't had a backstay go, and yeah, I'm not sure. Now I know, at least I've got someone who's had that experience, you know, and that's the thing. You just you never know what's going to happen, and things just occur out of the blue sometimes, and so yeah, backstay goes.
Yep.
Main sheet on.
Yeah. But there are a lot of chain of events that can be similar like that, some better than others, but yeah, it was a pretty good question though.
Yeah, good question, James. Thanks very much for asking.
Okay.
So yeah, please keep up with your questions. We're really enjoying sharing our little stories and figuring out what it is that you would like to know about. So love to hear from you, share with your friends, and thank you again so much for watching. Cheerio.
Okay, see you guys.